Okay, we're just going to take a look at finding a quadratic given its roots. So to find a quadratic given its roots, we're going to ignore anything that's happening on the y-axis. We're going to just specifically look at where it cuts the x-axis. So we have these two different graphs here. Now from these graphs, we know that the n-shaped graph is a negative graph. So that's going to have a minus x squared because these are both turning once, so they'll both have an x squared. And then the u-shaped graph is going to be a positive x squared. So just to go back a small bit to remind ourselves about a couple of little bits about these. If we have a straight line, that's going to have just a normal x, no square in it. If I have an n-shaped graph, I'm going to have a minus, and because it turns once, I add the power. If I had a u-shaped graph, it'd be a plus, and then it turns once, so I have a power of 2. Okay, so if I take a look then at one, like a cubic graph, so cubic just means that it looks like this. It has 2 turns, so that means it's x cubed. If it had 4 turns, 2 turns gives you x cubed, 3 turns gives you x to the power of 4. So however many turns there is, you always go up by 1 power. So if I'm looking at these, I know that this is going to have to be an x squared. This is going to have to be an x squared, but this one is going to be a minus because it's n-shaped, so it's negative. Right, so how we go about doing this then is we take a look and we take out the roots. So if I'm looking at this first question on the left, I know that the roots are where it cuts the x-axis, so where it crosses the x-axis. So I know one of the roots is going to be x equals minus 1, and then the other root is going to be 3. On this one on the right-hand side, I know that x is going to equal 2, and I know x is going to equal 6. So if I go back to the one on the left-hand side, I know what I can do here is I can say that's x plus 1 if I bring it across the equals, and x minus 3. And what I do with those two is I multiply those, and I'm going to end up with a quadratic. So on the one on the right, same thing. I'll have x, I'll have minus 2, and then I'll have x and minus 6. So going back to the left-hand side, we're going to multiply this out, and I have x by the second bracket is going to be x squared minus 3x, and then I'm going to multiply plus 1 by the second bracket. That's going to be plus x, and then 1 minus 3 is minus 3. So I have x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay, going back over to the right-hand side, I'm going to multiply x by x minus 6. That's going to be x squared minus 6x, and then minus 2 by x minus 6. Minus 2x minus by minus gives me plus. 6 2's are 12. So I have x squared minus 8x plus 12. Okay, and there's my function. Now if I go over to the left, if I look, there is no minus in front of my x squared, and I said there would because it was an n-shaped graph. So what I have to do here to finish this question off is I have to multiply by a minus 1 for it to be correct. So if I multiply that by a minus 1, I get my minus x squared that I wanted. Minus by minus gives me a plus. 2 1s are 2x. Minus by minus gives me a plus. 3 by 1 is 3. So there are my two completed functions. This one here for my negative x squared graph, and this one here then is for my positive x squared graph.